my channel. Back on the roof for Rooftop Reflections. I just want to start this off by saying thank you to every single one of you that has spread love and positivity and just kind words. I've tried to read every single one of your guys' comments. I try to respond to them. Some of them get missed, but I am going to start off by updating you guys on a few things. One update, I had a great time. You guys saw my vlog that was from LA, although I am paying for that weekend for a few reasons. Being that I kind of went on that trip kind of on the spur of the moment, kind of last minute. If you guys haven't picked that up or not, I'm very OCD when it comes to things. So when I plan trips, when I pack things, I'm very on point and I remember everything. I make lists, I do all of that. I pack everything as far as my, my meal prepping goes. Well, I went to my friend's birthday party and I decided that I kind of just like threw everything together. When I packed, this is pretty much how it was. I threw a bunch of stuff in my bag, and I just was like, I hope I have everything. I brought my supplements, I did bring that, but I didn't pack my meals like I normally do. I just kind of was like, oh, I'll buy stuff, I'll have time. No, I didn't. So being the lack of sleep, I didn't get much sleep that whole weekend. It was very jam-packed busy. The lack of water, I didn't drink that much water. I was very bad with that. I did take my supplements. I was on that. And then I didn't eat a whole lot either. The way I think is I would rather not eat than eat horrible food, and I didn't take the time to go to the store to get good food. I did order room service, and I was at that gym that we were recording at, and I did get a few things from there, but I didn't eat a whole lot at all. I'm kind of ashamed of myself that I didn't eat very well. So the lack of sleep, the lack of water, and the lack of food, I didn't recover very well. So I did my workout that Saturday morning. I did not recover from that. I was about 4 days. 4 days I was really sore, and it wasn't okay. And I didn't even take BCAAs either, so I was paying for that on top of the lack of sleep and everything else between doing my video shoots. By the time I got home, my whole body was in a lot of pain. Come Thursday night, I ended up with kind of the starting of a pinched nerve on my right side. I could feel it came on so fast. I felt this sharp pain, and I had to hold my arm up like this because of how bad it was, and it went from the back of my neck down in front over to my collarbone, back into my shoulder blade, and it went all the way down my arm. This whole hand went numb. And I have had a pinched nerve before, an extremely bad one, over a year ago, and I was like, oh no, pinched nerve. And I know it was because of I didn't take care of myself very well. And so my body was letting me know, and I hadn't been able to stretch or do any of the stuff I normally do. So ever since I got back from LA, it was kind of like trying to play catch up, eating, sleeping, drinking water, playing catch up the last 3 or 4 days. And so I ended up seeing one of my massage therapists last night, which was Friday night. It did a 90-minute, it was like a physical therapy massage, and she did traction and a lot of various stuff, and we only worked on my neck and my shoulders. Numbness is gone in my hand. A lot of the tension is released, but it was bad. And on top of stress, I had a very stressful week and very challenging week, which will bring us into our rooftop reflections, our rooftop talk. And so on top of that, the stress didn't help physically, and so it only got worse. What did I do? I didn't go to the gym and do a bunch of training. I actually skipped my jujitsu, which I didn't want to, but I did. I knew my physical health was more important than the looking good or thinking I was going to lose progress. So I just wanted to take care of myself, which I'm glad I did, because I'm already on the back up. I'm feeling almost 100% recovered from that weekend. It pays to take care of yourself. Listen to your body, guys. Listen to your body. And now it brings me to the discussion of the video. A little bit of some lessons learned this week. This week has been very, very challenging for me, actually. Fighting some personal battles, and I know a lot of you guys made mention I looked so happy in my vlog, and I genuinely was enjoying myself. But when you have distractions, and it gets your mind off what you're really going through, and you can be like, woo, having good, you have all these distractions, it keeps your focus on just being happy. But then lot of times when you get back to reality, it hits you hard. I had all the distractions of the weekend, but then I realized, oh, I'm going back to real life and a lot of the stuff I'm facing. One thing that did come to light for me when I was heading back home on Tuesday was like I wanted to get home, and I wanted to come back home. I want to come home back to my dogs, to my mountains, and I realized how grateful I was that I did not decide to move away when I did. I would have just been in a different location, new distractions, but everything I'm going through still would have been there. And I would have been away from home, I would have been away from my family, away from my support system, and I probably gotten even more depressed. And the longer you keep distractions, the less you're thinking about what has happened, and the less you're facing what you need to face and what you need to fix with yourself. And so I'm just beyond grateful that I didn't decide to just run off. That was kind of the start of my week. If any of you have paid attention very closely to social media, I actually have not been on my social media for the past, I think it's 5 days now. I haven't posted anything. I think I did post one thing yesterday. I posted the sunset because it was beautiful, but that's all I did. If you guys have noticed that, I'm gonna call it social media cleanse. I took a complete break from it. So I'm not going through and checking all the updates and people's posts and things like that and just not posting. A complete break. Like, I haven't opened the apps at all whatsoever, except yesterday when I posted the sunset on, I believe, Snapchat, IG stories, and Facebook. I just posted it and got off of it. You know, social media can be used as a really good thing, and it also can be used as a bad thing. I'm talking about with yourself. What are your intentions with it? Depending on what you're going through, you're using it to check up on people, see what people are doing, without actually making the effort to either talk to an individual. You just want to like search and stalk their Instagram or Facebook, and you are struggling with a breakup, or it doesn't even necessarily mean of the opposite sex, but it could be a friendship, girlfriend, guy, whatever it is, something happened, and you're going to check their social media or seeing things being posted with other people, and it upsets you. You get jealous, you get angry, sad, whatever it is. It can be a whole combination of things. I go through waves. There'll be times where nothing bothers me, I'm doing well, and then there's other times I might see something and I'll be like, oh my god. And we get in our own head. We do. Every single one of us, we do it a lot. And I know I do that a lot. I get in my head, I'll go off one thing and start building it and building it and building it, and then it ends up being this whole crazy elaborate thing. Women, we're really good at that. It becomes this whole elaborate thing that's not even like legit, and then you're upsetting yourself. And plus, when you see social media, you're going off this little bit of information. If you're doing well, you're feeling very happy, you're not going to look at things in a specific way. You're just gonna be like, oh, that's cool, oh this, oh that. But if you're struggling with something, you're having insecurities, you're having jealousy, you're having whatever it is, so you can look at something, it doesn't matter how inspirational it is, whatever's going on here, you're gonna take it that way. That's why you see so much negativity from specific people on social media posts, where people are just, you don't know them, but they're leaving rude, horrible, mean comments. You don't know these people, and they're just making comments based off the little information that they get from your social media. They don't know you personally. Most of the time, it goes off what's going on in here. I didn't delete the apps off my phone. There wasn't any specific thing I did. I just said, no, you're staying off of it. Just like you would to your kids. Your kids get privileges. You're like, nope, you don't get to be that on right now until you do this. And that's kind of like what I did with myself. I just was like, nope, stay off of it. It's for your own mental health. It's really crazy to me how much more I see of things around me. Now, I've talked about this actually way back in months and months ago about taking less time on social media, but when you actually fully take a break from it, you realize you see more of what's going on around you. One thing I did notice when I was out in public, you can find almost one person that is not on their phone. And I was like, whoa, like look at her, like everyone's on their phone doing something, showing, you're standing in line at the grocery store, everyone's on their phone, and I'm standing there with my wallet. Oh, okay, we're like a society of technology now. It's crazy. And me personally, having that balance between, there's times to be on it and then there's times not to be on it. The goal with staying off the social media for my own self was to kind of get refocused, because I wasn't in a good mind state. I was very upset. I was taking just little things, even things just like I started thinking about something and I was manifesting off of it. Okay, there's a bug in my hair. I heard it's all zzz. And I'm just as guilty of this too, is we always bring in past stuff that's happened, and you know, we'll bring it on, and then we'll start fearing that, worrying about this, thinking that, oh, this is going to happen again in the future. So you're taking your past and trying to plant it into your future when this has already happened. There's nothing you can do about it, and this hasn't happened. And you can do everything to change how things are going to happen in the future by staying right here right now. So that was the goal with it, is I need to get myself back present in this moment and get back on track again, because you know, it's like you think about you're doing so good, and then what happened? And I truly felt like this was not my week. I had quite a few days where I did spend a lot, I was crying a lot, and that didn't help with my physical recovery either. So that was the goal of it, is just to clear my head, not have any distractions. I had, you know, stayed off basically all electronics except, you know, obviously checking client emails. There's only specific things I allowed, obviously business messages. Spent a lot more time outdoors, getting sleep, so staying off electronics, going to bed early, and because I knew that was the only way getting enough sleep was going to help me recover. I did a lot more writing and studying, because you guys know, if any of you that saw, I went back to studying again, more nutrition to broaden my knowledge. It's amazing when you're not on social media. It's amazing how much I got accomplished. It's pretty crazy. You have so many distractions nowadays, but they're distractions away from you. They're away from your problems, things that you might need to face. You know, you hear all the time about people that want to make change, social media posts. New me, I'm gonna be making a change, and a lot of people will just be posting about the positive. There's nothing wrong with that, but you see positive, you know, posts all the time, and you, what do they call, memes and little inspirational quotes. Are you really taking that to heart? Are you really taking that in, and are you really making those changes? I actually just did some journaling the other night, and I'll probably post it on Instagram. But it had to do with about change. Change is not a feeling. True change, it's commitment, and it's a commitment of mental work. Majority of us get into a certain way of thinking, habits that are established, and this comes from different experiences, good, bad in your life, things that you've been through, and they get established and ingrained in our mind. But it doesn't mean that you're just stuck, like you're pretty much screwed with this way of thinking or these habits. It's just we get into habits, and when we want to make a change, habits don't change just like that. Like, habits actually take work. You have to, the old habits that you want to change, you have to work on establishing and replacing those with new habits. But that happens, it's different for each person. And it depends on how consistent you are and how hard you're working at changing those habits. And it doesn't go with just like you're working out or eating or anything like that. If you're struggling mentally with like insecurities, jealousy, trust issues, anger, whatever it is, those are mental habits. And if you've been thinking a certain way for so long, it's gonna be like that. And when you try to change that, it's gonna be uncomfortable. Change is uncomfortable. Basically what it comes down to is you probably just adopted new words, and I did that in my journaling. And that's what happens in most cases. I know, because I've been guilty of it. I'll talk about like, oh, change, and I'll have all these inspirational quotes, but then when I really think about it, I'm like, have I really applied that? Have I really made a change? Or have I just adopted new words? And that's kind of what it is in these situations, is when you want to make change, it doesn't matter what it is, change takes work and it takes time. And most of the time, it's gonna be so uncomfortable. You're gonna hate it. You're gonna hate it, you know, but you have to face it. You have to face yourself. Whatever it is you're going through, you have to face it, and you have to deal with it. And you can't just keep distracting yourself with social media, or to moving to a new location, or getting a new relationship, or, you know, just playing video games or shopping or whatever it is. Those distractions aren't gonna fix your problem, because the problems are up here, and they're gonna be there with you until you change them. And it's changing those habits and those ways of thinking. It's not easy, guys. From my own experience, I noticed the longer that I've stuck in and been consistent, and I've stayed on track, and I might get off track a little bit and come back, but the longer that I have, I found that some things have gotten easier and things have gotten better, and the habits, certain habits, physical and mental habits, have started to change. But it didn't happen quickly. Some of them have taken me a year, some of them have taken me only a few months. It just depends on what it is. I'm gonna tell you right now, if you stick in there and you keep working hard, you're gonna look back and you're gonna laugh and be like, wow, I was upset about that. Wow, I did that. Wow. It's gonna be worth it, and you're only gonna be stronger. Doesn't mean you're never not gonna face a problem in your life again. So this is actually the quote that I did. And these times when you're facing your fears, your insecurities, everything you're struggling, you learn the most about yourself. You learn your strengths and you learn your weaknesses, and then your weaknesses get stronger, and then your strengths get even more powerful. So when you are brought to a situation again, you're going to be able to handle a situation better. You're going to think more clearly. Not all the time. You know, there'll be sometimes we all have weak moments. That's human, being human. You're going to be able to handle it so much better, and you're going to approach a situation a lot differently than you did in the past, and you're just going to be proud of yourself and how you handle things, and that you can handle them. It's when we don't, that's why we keep ending back where we started, and we just keep going like this, and a vicious cycle. You got to make the change, break that cycle. Don't keep doing this. It's like a hamster wheel. You know how annoying hamster wheels are? Yeah. Kind of, I guess, my lesson for this week is, you know, I was making progress and I was going forward, and then I realized that I started backtracking again. I was worn down too. A lot of times when we are worn out, can't keep up emotionally. That was a big culprit. I had to be on point all weekend. I was like, you get to this point where it's almost like a natural defense. You just naturally going to put it on that smile on your face and you don't even realize it. But inside you might still be fighting that. You might still having a storm going on. But once you're by yourself, then it releases. It's like a dam just breaks and it comes out. And I felt like that's kind of how this week was. You know what? I need to take a break. I need to separate myself from all these distractions and get back reconnected with myself. Just letting you guys know too is it's okay. Like, it's okay to be separate from that. And if you find that when you separate yourself from your social media outlets, you start freaking out, that means that you need to separate from that more, because it's becoming an addiction. Especially when we get bored. We'll just immediately go to our phones, be scrolling. We don't even think about it. It becomes so habitual. We kind of just lose connection with ourselves and with the natural world around us. And I think it's very important to be connected with yourself and to be aware of what you're going through, because a lot of us might be struggling with stuff we don't even realize. It's like underlying, but we have so many distractions, we never face it. And then when we do, when something happens where we're alone or we are separated from something, and it comes to surface what's really going on, it becomes so overwhelming, and we don't even know where to begin or how to handle it. And it's so intense. We're just like, oh my God. So then we immediately go back to distraction again. So that's why the point of separating from things and taking the time to reconnect with yourself, face what's going on with yourself, because otherwise it's just going to get worse. It's just going to build. And I know that happened for me. And you know, I don't want to put on the mask in the face and be like, oh, everything's perfect, just because I have, you know, all of the large amount of viewers that I have, and that, you know, the pressures we get to always look like perfect all the time. And it's not like that. We all struggle. We all go through problems. You know, it's life. Just think it's really good, if you can, to take time for yourself, and take as much time as you need. If you're starting to feel okay with something, you know that you're making progress. But if you don't feel okay with it, got to work on it a little bit more. And I know there's a lot of things that I'm feeling a little bit more confident and more that I've made so much progress in, and there's some things I'm like, oh, I have a long ways to go. Your worst days, that's where you learn the most about yourself, if you face it and you stay open to that. Because I did take that break, and I just removed myself from the daily habits of social media, did some things that I truly enjoyed. I'm feeling a lot better today. I'm feeling a little bit more clear-headed. I learned some things about myself this week and was able to, you know, gain some things as well and make some progress in some areas. I did good. I'm proud of myself right now. Pat myself on the back. You have to do those things for yourself. You really, really do. Just be careful, be wary of those distractions and losing yourself. Some of us cover it up with, you know, with cockiness or natural defenses that appears like I am this really strong, like, yeah, go-getter, confident woman, but it's like a mask that we put on. You know, we've got to take those masks off every once in a while and face what's underneath the mask. I'm not talking about any other person. I'm talking about yourself. The only person that you need to be responsible for is yourself and what you're doing and what you're putting out there. Instead of always pointing out everybody else's faults and what they're doing, you, me, we all have plenty of our own faults, and it's about taking responsibility for it and changing the negative to the positive, changing it for the good. Where to begin? The dogs, they see a deer. Hi, Bambi. Hope you guys enjoyed this video, and you know, thank you again for tuning in and all your love and support. You guys, all the feedback that I've gotten on these videos have been just amazing. Like, it's a breath of fresh air. You know, please like, please share the video, subscribe if you haven't already. But thank you guys for coming in, you know, technically sitting with me on my roof. Hugs. Sun is going down, so I gotta share the sunset with you. Another beautiful sunset. Look at that sky. Oh my goodness, all the colors. It just looks painted.